always come back.
Not anytime soon.
What if Batman and Five Nights at Freddy's were in the same universe together? How would everything play out? Batman, popular character. FNAF, huge franchise. Both together surprisingly fit well. I made a video talking about how William Afton in the FNAF world would be a great villain for Batman, and it got me wanting to make a video talking about what I think would happen if Batman existed in the FNAF universe and vice versa. Just a very quick synopsis for those that don't know what Five Nights at Freddy's or FNAF is. It's about this guy named William Afton. Insane psychopath, pure evil. He killed kids and put them into these animatronics that the FNAF games have you interact with, or more specifically, hunt you down and try to kill you. I super oversimplified it. There's far too much lore in the FNAF world to go over, but yes, in a nutshell, that's what it is. I'll try to condense it in the video to make more sense. The point is that William Afton is basically a supervillain, one that fits really well against Batman, like I said. So let's discuss what would happen if Batman were to enter the FNAF universe and how he would try and stop William Afton. Please subscribe, follow me on Discord, I'm trying to get those numbers up, like the video, follow me on Twitter, and let's just move on. Okay, so before I move on with this premise, I'm going to make this more so a Batman and FNAF crossover, rather than just putting Batman straight into the FNAF game series. The FNAF series is so rich in its game length and lore and books and all that trying to slap Batman into the game story just wouldn't work in my opinion. It would change far too much of it. So what I will do is start Batman around the events of FNAF 1 and discuss a scenario in which I think is more of an adaptation that takes inspiration from some future FNAF games. What I'm trying to say is this will be my interpretation of a FNAF Batman crossover, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, with that being said, let's set up the premise here. So, the story of FNAF is a little confusing, but I'll try to explain it here. So, in the FNAF lore, William Afton, like I said, kills kids and puts them into the classic animatronics that we see in the games. Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, Golden Freddy, and Foxy. And there's a ton more as the games and series progress. But to fast forward to FNAF 3, the animatronics attack William Afton and William puts on the Springtrap costume. The Springlogs dig into his body and instead of killing him, turns himself into an animatronic, the Springtrap William Afton that we see in those games. However, while I would love to see Batman fighting this William Afton version, I think first and foremost, a better place to set up Batman would be in the first FNAF game. And I think for this hypothetical, I will be taking some liberties, like I said, to put Batman in the universe, so keep that in mind. Let's say after the events of FNAF 1, which is basically just a security guard trying to survive the night at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Batman hears reports of the animatronics going sideways and goes there to investigate. Now, the FNAF games typically take place in Dakota. Why would Batman go to Dakota to investigate a crime outside Gotham, you know? Like, who knows? Maybe there's a link to something in Gotham that Freddy Fazbear's. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, the story would have Batman go there. So okay, Batman hears reports of the animatronics. I think Batman would first and foremost try to find out about the history of Freddy Fazbear before going inside the place. Doing his research, he would learn about the lore of the whole ordeal. So he would learn that William Afton worked with his friend Henry Emily to create the first diner, Fredbear's Family Diner, as we see in FNAF 4's prequel game. He would realize that this place closed down because of the Bite of 83, which the Bite of 83 is a popular thing in FNAF, where William's son, Michael, grabbed his younger brother and put him in the mouth of Fredbear. The Springlogs activate, which kills the kid, hence closing down the diner. It was around this time that William Afton revealed his first signs of insanity, where he was arguing with Henry Emily about experimentations with life and death. As William drives home from Henry's house, he finds Henry's daughter standing outside the diner, and William kills her as some sort of rage and retaliation against Henry, the first murder he would commit. Now, there's a ton more lore that just goes on and on and on and on, but I want to just jump into the FNAF lore in which Freddy Fazbear Entertainment is open, the scenario of FNAF 1 that we're putting Batman in. The 5 animatronics we see here are a result of William Afton luring 5 kids into the back while this new diner was open and killing them and stuffing their bodies inside the animatronics, which ties their souls to the animatronics. This is why they are alive and attacking people. Now, like I said, I would put Batman around the events of FNAF 1 here, where security guards are just at the closed down diner keeping an eye and hearing their reports of the animatronics attacking them. I think all the lore I just discussed about William Afton, Batman would know before going into Freddy Fazbear's. However, since the child murders from William aren't public, at least at this point, maybe Batman wouldn't know that necessarily before going in. Keep that in mind. But this is where Batman would step in. Batman sneaks into Freddy Fazbear's diner at night and takes a look around. As he investigates, he might get a phone call like the security guards do in the actual game. Batman answers it and hears the phone guy, aka William Afton, who would realize that Batman is in the diner. William is a psycho, so he would tell Batman to stop sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, and then he would try to kill Batman there. The animatronics would then come to life and quickly attack Batman. Now, Batman is one person who doesn't account for paranormal activity or magic at first. He usually doesn't try to believe it despite living in the DC universe, funny enough. He always tries to ignore it in a way. So I think Batman's first thoughts here would be that maybe the animatronics are just robots controlled by William, but perhaps after Batman uses his detective vision, he would see dead bodies or maybe souls inside these animatronics. Now, Batman at this point might realize that the kids that disappeared from the diner might very well be the kids inside those animatronics, and will start to realize that their souls are trapped in there. I think Batman would then realize that he could easily stop the animatronics and shut them down, but I think he would be cautious of the kids inside and their spirits. The issue here might be finding a way to put their souls at peace. So I would say that Batman would actually escape here, secure the diner down so nobody can enter without him knowing, and find a way to put their souls at peace. He would do all of that instead of just taking out the animatronics right then and there. My thought process here is that Batman, like I said, is a character that doesn't like the idea of magic. He's a scientist first and foremost, so this area is not his area of expertise, to say the least. So that's why I think he would leave the area. But he could also just destroy the animatronics, which is something he's more than capable of, but then the souls of the kids would just be wandering around, right? So like, either way, I feel like it's the same outcome. Batman still has to exit the diner to find a way to put their souls to rest. So Batman would leave the diner, go to Gotham or wherever he needs to, and I say he would contact Zatanna and or Constantine, two magic users in the DC universe, some of the most notable and powerful. Batman would go to them and let them know about William Afton and the animatronics, and they would give Batman some sort of spell or let him know about some ways to put the souls to rest. They would let him know, and while this is all happening, I can see William Afton going to Freddy Fazbear's Entertainment in his Springtrap costume and setting up traps for Batman, knowing that Batman will come back, and that this is his chance to try and kill Batman. So I just want to say at this point, my story that I'm setting up here could be completely off. I get that. Nobody can say for sure what the definitive route for a story like this would be. So maybe William doesn't go to the diner. Maybe Batman doesn't do this or that, but yeah, keep that in mind. It's just my interpretation. So yes, I think while Batman's out trying to find a way to help these trapped souls, William Afton would go to Freddy Fazbear's in his Springtrap costume to set up traps. He puts on the costume because he believes it'll protect him from the other animatronics, hiding who he is and blending in, preventing them from killing him. And with Batman leaving the building, remember how I said that he would set up cameras and secure the building before leaving? Maybe he would see a Springtrap William Afton go inside, but since it's like he's in the costume, he might just assume it's another animatronic he didn't encounter, or maybe William just sneaks in without tripping any of the alarms. So, just keep that in mind as well. Okay, at this point, Batman finds a way to put the souls to rest. Let's just say that for the sake of the story, Batman has to go back and encounter them once again to be able to do that. So Batman goes there, and this is where the first showdown happens between the animatronics and William Afton. William Afton talks to Batman. I would say their conversation would be nothing too deep. I mean, William is just an insane villain, right? It wouldn't be some ideological conversation like Batman and Red Hood, for example. William would tell Batman he's gonna kill him and activate whatever traps he may have, perhaps locking the place up and having these traps distract Batman while him and the animatronics attack Batman. It would be an interesting fight. I mean, Batman is a beast, but coming into their territory can be essentially a threat to Batman. But speaking from a story perspective, Batman would fend off the animatronics and then take down William Afton in his Springtrap suit. Somehow, I think Batman would hit his helmet off, revealing that he is a human to the other animatronics. It would be at this point that perhaps after a fight between Batman and running away from the animatronics, the spring locks in William's suit would activate, stabbing into him, with him seemingly dying, at least to Batman. After which, Batman would target the animatronics, take them down, and put the kids' souls to rest, ending their cycle of torture and stopping the threat at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. With the threat gone and William presumably dead, Batman would leave and have the local police take care of everything, and he would also inform the police of Afton and all of his murders. I think at this point in the story, when the police get there, this is where William would then disappear. He escapes as the new Springtrap monster and goes out to seek revenge against Batman. Now I know, once again, I feel like I'm kind of swaying the FNAF lore in order to fit the story of Batman in this universe. It's something I didn't do for my other Batman universe videos, where in those, I just added Batman to the already existing story. But like I said, it's hard to do that with a series as extensive as FNAF, where certain story beats just wouldn't make sense if Batman were there the entire time, right? So yes, I think it's cool to discuss it the way I am here. Let's just continue though. I think at this point, William Afton would be pissed at Batman that Batman ruined everything, and now he devises a plan to kill him. At this point, Batman goes back to Gotham after stopping William Afton. Months, maybe even years go by, and now William, once again, perhaps creates more animatronics, travels to Gotham, and opens a pizzeria there, perhaps to lure Batman. Now, once he opens his new pizzeria in Gotham, the animatronics William could use could be the same ones like Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, Golden Freddy, and Foxy. However, I think it would be very interesting if William, instead of building and creating possessed animatronics, teamed up with Scarecrow to create the Nightmare animatronics. The Nightmare animatronics he uses in the original game, specifically FNAF 4. Now hear me out on this. The Nightmare animatronics used in the actual game, FNAF 4, are used by William Afton to terrorize children that he kidnapped. In that game though, the Nightmare animatronics are actually just illusions from the result of a hallucinogenic gas put in the chamber in those games. With William's new goal of killing Batman, maybe he realized that creating new possessed animatronics wouldn't work since Batman has a way to stop them. And this time, he teams up with one of Gotham's biggest villains in finding a way to take him down once and for all. It would not only tie William to Batman's lore more so, but also incorporate familiar elements of both the FNAF lore with the Nightmare animatronics being hallucinogenic like they are in their own game, but also with the Scarecrow lore of using his fear gas to terrorize people, the best of both worlds. It is another reason as to why I wanted to take liberties with this hypothetical scenario. I think it would be very interesting if William Afton was incorporated into Batman and his universe this way, or vice versa. So you see why I put Scarecrow here. William could likely work with Crane to create this gas that makes Batman see these Nightmare animatronics. So here's how I think things would go. William travels to Gotham, teams up with Scarecrow. They go off the radar for a bit to set up the next Freddy Fazbear pizzeria in Gotham. Perhaps this time, William Afton creates new animatronics, but they're not possessed and instead laced with a fear toxin created between him and Crane. Batman takes notice of the pizzeria, goes there to investigate. After doing some digging, he would realize that William's body was never found back when they first fought, and would realize that he may be back in Gotham City. What Batman wouldn't know is that he would be working with Scarecrow. Batman then, when it's nighttime, enters a new pizzeria and investigates, and sees a new animatronics. Batman would then go towards them thinking that maybe they're possessed again, but once he gets close enough, the animatronics are laced with the new fear toxin, which hits Batman, making him see the Nightmare animatronics. This would lead into Batman trying to fight things that may not be there. All the while, perhaps William Afton comes in his new Springtrap suit alongside Scarecrow, and they both attack Batman. Batman would soon realize he's under the hallucinogen, and most likely have some sort of cure to come back to his senses, because he's fought Scarecrow a bunch of times. He'd probably have a cure, right? He would use that, and then he would see the Springtrap Afton there alongside Scarecrow. Now, Springtrap William Afton is described as just being pure evil, no real motives, he's just a monster. It's hard to tell if he would keep working with Crane at this point, or he would try to kill him or take him out or whatever. Either way, in this story, I would say that Batman would make quick work of Scarecrow, and then target Afton in his new Springtrap outfit in a final 1v1. William Afton in the new Springtrap suit does have the ability to control other animatronics, so maybe the climactic showdown here would be a reveal that Afton did create actual real new animatronics, and he would reveal them there, targeting Batman to try and kill him. I imagine this would be more difficult for Batman because now Afton is enhanced with supernatural abilities, but after a fight, I imagine Batman would defeat the animatronics and then William. Batman would put the souls to rest once again for those animatronics, and Batman would try to do the same for William, but I imagine for William Afton, he wouldn't be able to do that because, I mean, thinking about it, William Afton could just be a recurring villain for Batman in a hypothetical story like this, and William always finds a way to come back in the FNAF games. Even if Batman finds a way to get rid of him, it might just be temporary. So I believe that Batman would subdue Springtrap William and toss him into Arkham Asylum, which would make him part of Batman's rogues gallery in a way which would be really cool. And at this point, I can see William Afton being a villain that goes after Batman continuously, or rather, he escapes Arkham and Gotham City and goes on to terrorize other kids in other cities where Batman isn't present. Or he teams up with other villains like the Ventriloquist, maybe Professor Pig, monsters with similar ideologies that can help him kill Batman. William Afton has no real motive for why he's evil, he just is. It's not predictable as to what he would do next, but I do think that in a story like this, he would patiently wait to escape Arkham and move on to his next evil plan. As for Batman, I imagine with all the kids and victims caused by Afton, Batman would make sure to give closure to all the families affected and find ways to counteract the supernatural effects of William should he ever get out. And at this point, the story of Batman FNAF could go in a multitude of ways. Like I said, the interpretation of the story is mine. I don't want to put Batman in just the game series of FNAF because, for example, if Batman were to come in during the events of FNAF 1, the events of future FNAF games wouldn't happen because Batman stops William and all his plans already, right? So for me, this is a scenario I came up with that can be completely wrong, but I think William would be an amazing villain for the Batman mythos, and this is my interpretation of what if the FNAF and Batman universes cross paths. But that's what I think. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagree with anything. Let me know, let me know, let me know. Also, let me know if you enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment, all that, man. It really helps. Follow my socials. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next video. Stay safe and peace.